Hello, Casey Wilson, owner of Roseville Strength and Conditioning and one of your co-hosts of the Do or Do Not podcast. And this is...
My name is Brad, and I am the better half.
Better half of what? Your marriage?
That's a good question.
All right, so today we're going to discuss a couple topics, and if we have enough time, we'll maybe throw something else in there at the end. So we're going to discuss, this is the time of year where people lose a lot of fitness and gain a lot of weight. And we're also going to discuss...
Best time of the year.
No, not for a trainer and not for somebody who's in the fitness industry. That would happen when everybody decides after January 1st they want to come in. That's a good time of year. But what I want to do is help people not destroy themselves and destroy what their goals would be in January by gaining 5 to 7 pounds over this period of time. Then we're going to talk about the new Chief Creative Control Officer for Star Wars. Dave Filoni has been promoted, but
praise Jeebus.
Will he really have the control that he should have? Is he really the new Kevin Feige of Star Wars? Is that a reality or is that just semantics? All right. So I was doing that kind of like a news person voice or something there. I was trying to be like real, like lay the topics out.
You're getting so much more professional.
I tell you what, I like doing this stuff. It's kind of fun. So this time of year, Brad.
Oh yeah.
Thanksgiving. What kind of spread did you have laid out?
Ooh, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. So I kind of do the unhealthy way. If I drop a little extra weight before Thanksgiving, so I can gain a little bit the weight back.
You did?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Might not see it yet, but I really pushed myself hard diet-wise right before because I know. Now, you have always said like one big plate or one plate.
Yeah, have one plate.
I had one very big plate. Shout out, Sarah. But I had turkey, ham, macaroni, cheese, stuffing, mashed potatoes, little mini rolls, Hawaiian roll, and maybe an adult beverage.
That's not bad.
And that was it. And then I had an entire pumpkin pie later on that day. That was bad.
So a lot of people overindulge.
Yeah,
like, oh, it's the holidays. You know, it's the same thing with the birthday party thing. Oh, I had a couple pieces of cake and a bowl of ice cream, and it was my cheat day. I'm like, I thought yesterday was your cheat day. You know, it's like you just have to use moderation. This is the thing that I tell all my clients, and I tell everybody when I preach from the moderation. I'm not saying don't enjoy your holidays, don't enjoy Thanksgiving, don't enjoy Christmas, a Christmas party, New Year's. Have a few libations, you know, get a little buzz, but you don't need to drink the house down. And you know what?
I did not.
Do not eat everything in the house. So if there's a big layout and spread, it doesn't all have to be eaten. It can be eaten a little bit the next day and a little bit the next day. It'll last if it's good cooked food. And if it's bad processed food, it'll last you 2 or 3 weeks.
Years maybe.
Yeah, you know, it'll sit there on your counter and probably be fine to eat 3 days later. But just eat in moderation. Don't go crazy and stay active. It gets cold. This is what coincides. A lot of eating, and then it gets cold. It gets rainy. People stop working out. They start hibernating, you know, from their fitness program. And guess what? In January, it's still going to be cold. It's still going to be rainy. It's still going to be snowy. There's always going to be something that's going to prevent you. You have to stick with it and find ways to get those workouts in. So last Saturday, me and a few of the people from the Spartan training group were out running in 34 degrees temperature. Is that super cold for California? It's getting down there. It's been really cold lately. We had a stretch of we're in the 30s every morning.
That's California cold.
That's California cold. It's not other place cold, but I mean, it's you're running out on grass that's crunching underneath your feet because it's frozen up there. And we were running up about 1,000 feet. So I think cool's probably around 1,000. Maybe it's something like that. So we were running up there early in the morning, getting our run done from 8 to 9 a.m. And so you got to work out. You got to find ways to get it done. And guess what? That cold burns your lungs when you go out there to run. And that's why you do it, because we're running a Spartan race in a week and a half. And guess what? It could be 35 degrees when we start our run. It could be 32.
Yep.
And you're going to get wet. So you got to prepare for those things so you're not shocked when you're doing them if you want to do well at them. So you got to take those elements in. There's gyms. pretty comfortable in here right now. We're wearing t-shirts. I have the heater on set to 64 degrees.
Oh, this is perfect.
It's not bad.
No.
Especially when you're sitting here talking and not working out. But if you're working out, you'll start sweating. But there's places you can go to get your workouts done. You can do them in your house, the comfort of your home. There's so much that you can do. You just got to do it. So at this time of the year, don't take time off. Don't go, I'm not going to work out and I'm going to eat everything in sight. And I like peppermint bark Haagen-Dazs ice cream. It's only out for a couple months a year. I do eat some of it during this time of the year. But I also did 2 workouts over Thanksgiving. I came in, did a workout, and I also went for the run. So, you just gotta keep doing the things you do, and you don't make an excuse because it's the holidays and I'm busy and it gets stressful. I got to buy presents and I got to do this. And then there's all this food in front of me. And everybody was drinking. You just have to, moderate yourself. So that's the main thing that I talk about during this time of year.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's get into some Star Wars talk.
Ooh, yeah.
So last week, I think it's toward the end of last week.
Yeah. News broke
that Dave Filoni was made the
Chief
Creative Officer. I believe that's the title.
Was answered. That's right.
So that sounds great. And I'm excited. If he's really going to be the overseer like Kevin Feige is of Marvel, although he hasn't been doing a very good job lately. But, he did a great job throughout Endgame and Infinity Wars.
That's a whole nother subject. Kevin is stretched a little thin. They're pulling back a little bit. They're not going to.
But with that being said, unfortunately for a long time, and people
the K word.
We have Kathleen Kennedy, who has screwed everything up, and she hands over the reins to people that aren't Star Wars people. And everybody who's ever watched probably 10 minutes of this podcast know that I am a huge hater of Kathleen Kennedy. I'm not a fan. And she's not a fan of any of us that are real fans either. Any of us have any knowledge of Star Wars, who read books, who know legends, who know how great this stuff could have been. She hates us too, because we call her out on it all the time. She would like us just to shut up and let her do her thing. And she's in charge of Star Wars, not, she created it, not George Lucas. She's doing all of this. She's the great one. So
the threat of her hangs over my
So here's
joy.
the thing is, I say David Filoni has no power until she's gone. I mean, none of us feel that way. I'm sorry. Dave Filoni calls her Kathy. They have a good working relationship. He's constantly said this stuff. Well, she sabotaged all the shows. I'd be pissed at her. If I was a showrunner and if I was involved in all these shows and I saw how great they could be and she came in and screwed them all up, she's hiring people like Lindsay Headland, or I think that's her name, that's doing the Acolyte, who basically has said horrible crap, George Lucas, she said stuff about George Lucas and about how Disney works and that women should have a say in this. That's like, no, it's Star Wars. People that are Star Wars people. I don't care if you're a woman, a man, a dog,
alien,
an Ewok.
Yeah.
I don't care what you are. As long as you're a Star Wars person who really believes in the philosophy of what Star Wars is and what George Lucas created. Dave Filoni does. And if he is really going to have that overseer power and be able to touch each show, and they say that he's already done that a lot behind the scenes, that they bring John Favreau in on all the shows, even though they're not showrunners.
Do it
They
more.
bring them in to give them advice, but they've already made the decisions. Kathleen Kennedy has already made the decisions. The director of that movie has already made the decisions. But so many times these directors were going to make great choices, and Kathleen Kennedy came in and said no. I mean, if anybody needs to know how screwed up things are, is if you
watch the sequels and then read the books.
Then read what Luke Skywalker was to that galaxy. And how powerful he was and what a positive influence and how great he was. Did he make mistakes? Sure. I just read the next 2 books and after the Empire. And he realized and there's other things where he basically was using the Force too much. And he starts pulling back on using the Force because But
did he quit?
No.
Did he try to kill his
he never quit.
Because
he never went to an island to isolate himself. He never acted like a little bitch. Okay,
see, that's all I was saying.
Like Kathleen Kennedy made him, like a grumpy old man on the island. Get off my grass, you little turds.
I know.
That's the only thing you have to do. If they go, well, what do you think of Kathleen Kennedy? I'm like, in her creative vision and what she did with Star Wars. I'm like, did you read the Legends books? No. Then you can't talk to me about it because you don't know what Luke Skywalker could have been. if you read those final 8 or 9 books, I think it's 8 books, and you see what he was towards the end and how he saved the galaxy from Abeloth. And I'm sorry, you make him into this bumbling idiot on an island, and yeah, you redeemed him, and because he came and projected his Force ghost, I'm sorry, a bunch of bullshit.
Lame.
So until Kathleen Kennedy is completely gone and out of the picture, Dave Filoni really has, and me as a person going, maybe he does. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm not behind the scenes. Maybe he does have creative. Maybe behind the scenes they told Kathleen Kennedy shut the hell up. The board told her to shut the hell up. Iger told her to shut the hell up. And then you're a figurehead right now until your contract's up. Maybe that's what they told. But in my opinion, until Kathleen Kennedy is gone and any of her minions are gone,
our job is not done. We stand.
Dave
on that
Filoni
wall.
doesn't have any real power. That's how I look at it.
I'm a little bit more optimistic.
I know, but I can't until she's gone. You cannot say, because she's had her fingers in this for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Screwing up shows, screwing up scripts, screwing up the direction that people wanted to take it. Some good people probably,
Yeah.
I can't remember all the stuff that who was the guy who was originally doing.
Well, didn't they?
I'm drawing the blank, but the director got fired. I forget his name, but he wanted to do stuff, and she said no. And they just had. There was so much stuff that people came out and said later, I want to do this, this, and this, but I wasn't allowed to.
Yeah. Well, we know by
the person who's signing the checks. The person who's signing the checks has the most power always in anything. And Kathleen Kennedy's still signing the checks at Lucasfilms, as far as I know.
But didn't they? Maybe you probably more plugged than I am. But I thought I read that they canceled or trashed a lot of upcoming Star Wars properties that people were making because they're like, we're making so much trash that we're going to pull back. And a lot of that was hers. Like, the woman who did the Wonder Woman. I'm old. I can't think of her names anymore.
Oh, yeah.
All these other movies and stuff. Like
she was going to make a Rogue Squadron movie.
Yeah, Kevin Feige was working on a Star Wars trilogy. His stuff got canned. Yeah. I mean, it seemed like they were
But guess whose didn't get canned? Taika Waititi or whatever. The guy did Thor.
Yeah.
Who had that last Thor movie, which was, that was not a good movie. Yeah. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't up to the standards that I expect. And he did, he's done well on a lot of other things. I'm a little worried about that one. Then again, I don't know, maybe it'll be great. It can't be any worse than some of the crap that they put out.
Well, you know what?
It'll probably be 10 times better in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I'll still pay because I'm that guy. I'm so invested in the Star Wars universe.
Number one, Disney doesn't have as much money as they did.
Yeah.
They went woke.
Well, because they kept putting in trash.
They went woke, and now they've suffered. They even admitted it this week, like shareholders, like they admitted it that their political activism and their wokeness, you can't alienate half the population.
That's true.
So if you're a big business that puts out entertainment and you're constantly like trying to change up all the norms and speak your woke stuff, hey, if that's what you want to do, great, but you're going to suffer the consequences. And guess what? Star Wars fans are going to suffer the consequences of it because they don't have as much money anymore.
That's true. Now, the only argument against that, if you're going to be woke or one way or the other, like if you're going to lean right or lean left, you got to make perfectly good movies.
Why don't you just make smart stuff?
That's what I'm saying. Why don't you
just make good stuff? Why don't you stay true to the spirit of things?
If they made the legacy Star Wars, like if they went in that direction, they could pick
Legends.
They could go Legends. I don't care which way they leaned. I would pay.
All you have to do is translate a screenplay from those books, and who do you have that could do that? The guy who wrote the books. Timothy Zahn's been helping. It boggles my mind. But let's talk about a few good things that have been happening. So Ahsoka season 2 has been greenlit.
Amen.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I was worried because they originally, remember to talk about they were basically canceling everything.
And they're going to make movies.
And they're going to make movies and they're going to pull back on everything and cut budgets and all this stuff. And I watched some stuff recently, some Star Wars from I think it was a Star Wars Theory and a few others, how they cut the budgets to some of these things, like the She-Hulk.
Yeah.
The budget to that was monstrous compared to what Ahsoka's budget was.
Yeah.
Or it was just
cut back
crazy.
on the crappy shows.
I mean, come on. I mean,
I mean, I love
She-Hulk was crap. I mean, I watched it all, and some episodes I was mildly entertained, but in general, I don't need comedy relief all the time.
Yeah.
You know what? I kind of like DC where people get killed and bad stuff happens and it's dark. It's realistic.
See, you're gonna make me digress into this whole other subject about Marvel leaning too much into the comedy aspect.
Yes.
And
we need to get a little darker. We need to get a little realistic.
I mean,
not all the superheroes live.
Endgame and Infinity War, they had some pretty dark moments.
Those were the best.
And then they just swung straight for balls out count.
Or let's go off the original Iron Man. He's in a cave having to build the suit and being tortured, and all these bad things are happening around the world. They bring real world aspects into it. It's not just, why do you think the Marvels stunk? I haven't seen it yet because I just really have no desire to see it. I will watch it when it comes out on Disney Plus to watch it for continuity. But
I think a lot of people are like you. They're like, you know what? Like, I would just watch it on Disney Plus. Like, why am I going to go pay?
No. People will pay money if it's good.
Yeah, but I mean,
it had the biggest drop off because I asked 2 people that went and saw it at the theater.
Yeah.
What do you think? And they go, wait for it for Disney Plus. It's not worth spending your money at the movie theater if you're already spending your money on Disney Plus, because it wasn't good enough to tell me to go see it at the theater.
Yeah.
You got to see it. It was so good. Oh my God. I tell you, it was one of the better ones.
Mediocre movies and focus on making fewer good movies.
Guess what? In the comic books, if there was a female superhero, great.
Yeah.
Don't make a male superhero into a female superhero. Don't go, we got to have a superhero movie with all women. That'll really, because there's been superhero movies with all men. Black Widow was the only woman.
Yeah.
Just stick true to the source material. That's because the people that buy all the shirts, they buy all the hats, they buy all the toys. The people that buy those things are real fans. And when you go disrespecting them, when they know, I'm not a huge comic book reader. I was when I was younger. Those comic book fans, when you take a series of comic books and turn them into a movie and you don't stick somewhat true to the story, they reject it. They're not going to buy any of this stuff. They're not going to go see it a second, third, and fourth time. They want to see this true source material, just like George Lucas had a vision of what Star Wars was. And when you veer off of it, people don't want to go watch it anymore and you lose cred. And then maybe you do make a really great movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do as well because all those people have already left.
They've already
said, I'm going to spend my money on something else.
I mean, I think Disney should keep 2 real Star Wars shows. And I think that's The Mandalorian, because I think you can have that universe with Boba Fett and that whole thing.
Well, they're going to make a movie.
Yeah, and Ahsoka. And that whole thing. So now you have the Rebels universe and Thrawn, and then you have the Mando universe with Boba and all the other kind of seedy underworld, and keep them very different. And I think that's it. I don't need a Boba Fett series because I don't think there's enough there. I think there's just too many. I'd put the money in. Take your time. Give me 15 good episodes of Ahsoka instead of 10 episodes of Ahsoka and then 10 episodes of some other show. Give me 15 good, high quality.
At least 12. I know a lot of times, Filoni said that the Mando season, is it 4? Was the last season 4?
Yeah, I think.
Or was it 3?
I don't remember. All I remember is
he said originally it was 12 episodes and they had all this great stuff where they brought Ahsoka into it and stuff. And then I think they were originally talking about something from the Skeleton Crew was going to be associated with it. So they're linking the shows together. We're going to come help Ahsoka, and Gina Carano's character was going to come and they were going to help on the Battle of Mandalore.
Yeah.
But then they had to change it all. They cut 4 episodes off it. Guess whose decision that was? Guess whose main decision that the rumors are that was? Kathy came in and said, your budget isn't this big anymore. Cut all these things. We're not doing this. I don't want Luke Skywalker involved. I don't want Ahsoka involved. Let's do it this way.
Is it sad that my most favorite Luke Skywalker moment and my favorite Darth Vader moment are both, one's from the TV show Mandalorian. The other one is at the end of Rogue One. Nothing had to do with the sequels. They could have done this all of the sequels and made it badass, and they didn't. thank God for Filoni and Favreau for giving me the greatest Luke Skywalker moment when he saved Grogu.
Yes.
And then, the Darth Vader moment at the end of Rogue One, where he's in a dark hallway and you just see the red light of the saber.
That was amazing.
I'm like,
hey, you know what? Rogue One. Hey, Kathleen Kennedy probably didn't have a lot of creative to do with it, but she signed the paycheck for that one, and she put good people in charge and good actors. And I loved Rogue One. It was great. I thought Andor was a good show.
Yeah.
But I think
when you look, what? I could do without Andor if it was going to take away from Ahsoka. Like, that's all right. Andor's great, but I agree. Have Ahsoka. Give me Ahsoka 4 episodes more of Ahsoka than 10 episodes of Andor.
Ahsoka was more Star Wars than anything they've made in a while.
Yeah.
In the first season of Mando and the second season of Mando was real Star Warsy, but it wasn't, Jedi's, those powers.
Yeah.
Now you don't want to just focus only on the Force and stuff, but what's different about our world and their world?
Yeah,
their galaxy.
See, I do want to
the world of Star Wars has the Force. I can't pick one of these things up and move it, and nobody can.
Well. Wait till we get to the paranormal episode.
There's some people that have levitated things and stuff like that, but it's very minimal. It's not anything like the Force.
I disagree. I want all Force.
You can't run super fast, swing lightsabers super fast like you're a blur. You don't have super strength. You don't have intuitiveness. You can't see stuff before it happens. All things that maybe we have in minor abilities, maybe we're just evolving to the point that we're going to get to have the Force in our universe. Maybe our brains are evolving to where there's certain outliers and they've evolved. Part of their brain is involved faster.
Too early.
They can just go boom and lift it up.
But see, like me, I want all Force. So like Rogue One was good because it involved like right before New Hope. Like, and I got the Darth thing.
And we knew some of the stuff that happened. Like they made reference in the New Hope and they brought some of that stuff to life.
But that's it.
What really happened.
When I watched Andor,
Andor, you're taking a prequel to the prequel.
I wasn't a fan of Andor because to me, it's like, this is just a really good sci-fi show. Like, it's not Star Wars. It's just sci-fi.
It was in the Star Wars universe.
The more I read about your guy right here,
Darth Malgus, Mark J. Don't push too hard on those. You don't want to mess my boxes.
I know that's probably worth more than my house.
I take care of those things.
The more I learn about all these Sith and Jedi, that's all I want. That's all I want. If there's not a lightsaber somewhere in this series, I don't want it. To me, that's not Star Wars. That's just another version of sci-fi.
I think it's okay. Like, I think Andor is great because not everything in the galaxy, in the Star Wars galaxy, is the Force. Look at all the heroes that didn't have the Force.
But I don't care about those. I think hey,
you got to be well-rounded. You can't just go like, because people are going to get bored with lightsaber battles all the time. You got to have good story. And you got to have those things in those aha moments, but you can't be like nonstop.
All right. Do you want a seedy, underground things that have no Force users in the Star Wars universe? Or do you want who's the one Sith / Jedi that was both?
Revan.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I'm a huge fan of Revan. I just can never think of his name. Or do you want like a story about how Revan went from one side to the other?
No, those are great stories, and they should definitely do that. But you can't
stick with the Sith or the Jedi.
And they are planning on doing those. I think that is part of they're going to have the different eras. They're going to have the old Republic era, the new Republic era. I think they're going to do live action a lot eventually.
Who's the one that sucks the Force out of you? The Sith. I know what he looks like. He looks badass. Like, focus on him. Is that
Darth Nihilus?
Yes, I think it is Darth Nihilus. Like, do Darth Nihilus. Do, powerful Luke Skywalker. Do, like, that is...
But it's a continue. Like, you have the source material already. If you read the Revan book, if you read the Bane trilogy, these are all things you could do. But... you got to have, like, Filoni is there, I think, in his new role is to oversee everything and make sure everything is
just I don't want Star Wars that don't involve the Force. Because you said it right. Like, the Force to me is the Star Wars universe. I could be very shallow. That's fine. I could see gritty, aliens doing stuff that doesn't involve the Force in any other sci-fi show. Like Star Wars to me,
there is a lot of that to it, and there's a feeling you get. The music sets the tone,
yes,
and stuff. But you got to also develop more stories than just the Jedi, because it's a whole universe.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they should be the primary focus.
Jedi
of Star
and the
Wars.
Sith.
Jedi and the Sith
Come
should
on.
be, but you got to have others too, because there's battles fought that don't have Jedis involved in it, or like
Lame.
you know, the admiral, the thing isn't like, you know, of a starship and they're fighting and they're having war.
Lame. We call
Not
that
all of
Battlestar
them.
Galactica. Okay,
You know, and-
I've seen that.
Yes, but that is set in the Star Wars universe. That has to be part of it. And Andor
Only if you
sets
have-
the groundwork in a whole
Look,
other story and gives depth to the rest of the story.
Only if this non-Force thing is controlled by a Sith. Because you know they say only Siths deal in absolute. I'm a Sith. Like, I want an absolute. I need lightsabers, or I'm going to lose interest in it.
Okay, let's say Rogue One was never made, and
Yeah.
Andor was never made.
Yeah, and
Do
they
you
made
think the depth of the shows, like the stories that they told, shouldn't be told?
Oh, they could have used some Sith. They could have used some.
There's only a couple Sith.
Look,
There's basically. Let's see. At that time, was that early? That was after. There's just basically Darth and Sidious. Those are your Sith right there.
that's all I need. Throw in some Jedi, something. I think you could tell Andor and the Rogue One. All right. First of all, I'd be okay if those stories were never told. I never wondered what happened before the New Hope. All right. Before Rogue One, I was never yearning. You know what? How did they get those plans? No, I never cared. If I never knew about it, I'd be okay.
I think they're getting way too simplistic. You know, you can't just focus on one aspect of it.
I want to focus on the Force.
Well, I guess I'm a Jedi master then, because I see the whole
I'm
big
an
picture.
absolutist.
And
Okay,
I'm looking at the whole big picture of the universe, and I'm a peacekeeper trying to.
If I was
everything in
Kathleen
alignment.
Kennedy, and the guy says, "Hey, you know, I have."
If
this
you were
movie,
Kathleen Kennedy, I'd punch you in the jaw.
and they said, "Hey, I have this movie called Rogue One, and it's all about how these band of rebels, this, you know, the Magnificent Seven, this, you know, thing of misfits pull together, and they steal the plans and then give it to me." Like, great, okay. Where's the Force in this? Okay, you know what's going to make this movie better? If this ragtag group of rebels is running from a Sith.
How many times have you watched Rogue One?
A couple.
I watched it 3 times.
Now, how many times?
I don't watch a movie 3 times
Darth
unless
Vader
it's good.
Scene?
Now, I've watched, you know, the original trilogy.
Hundreds.
I don't even know how many times I've watched each one. I've watched Empire more than any of them, because sometimes I'm just in the mood to watch Yoda and Luke, and I like that. So, but I've watched them. But I've watched.
Ask me how many times I
I
watched
don't
that
watch
Darth
a movie
Vader
3
scene.
times unless it's good.
How many times have I watched that Darth Vader fight at the very end? Hundreds.
Well, because they have it
clipped.
clipped.
Yeah, I'll watch that 16, 17 times in a row.
So
just that shot of the dark hallway, and you hear zoom, when you see the red glow. Oh my God.
See, with a guy like Darth Malgus and his story, like he was dark.
Yes.
Darth Malgus, he was a dark guy, but there was still little aspects to him, like he had a lover, and he really cared about her, but he would sacrifice her because he's a Sith, and he would kill her if he had to.
Now imagine a ragtag group of rebels trying to steal plans with him in the backdrop of like, oh my God, have you heard about Darth Malgus? Like we gotta get close to him to steal the thing. Oh, that would make it so much more terrifying.
His story is, but can you bring his story to life on the screen?
Yes.
So they would have to really develop his character over a period of time if you're really, because he looks scary, right?
Yeah.
But the reason he has this on his face is because a Jedi whooped his ass on Endor.
You know what?
The Battle of Endor. So he has to, half of his face got messed up because he was in a big battle and they were losing badly to the Jedi. I know
you got to go soon, but I just want to say this: some of the best Star Wars action I've ever seen are these video clips of video games, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They have. I got sucked in by
Old
all of
Republic
these.
stuff.
Yeah,
it's great.
Like you saw the shipland and like 15 Sith
and
lightsabers come out.
It's in the books too.
Yeah, and I'm
know?
like, just do that. Give me if they could do that in a video game. Like I will watch the video game graphics of a whole movie.
Well, they already
of
did.
These characters.
It's called the Old Republic.
Yeah,
Knights of the Old Republic.
Make a movie of that.
They are planning on it.
Make a movie.
I have
it has
seen
the Force.
And read that they're making the Old Republic movies are coming.
I mean, about time.
But if Disney doesn't make money in the near future, they're maybe not coming. Because here's the thing: they've put on hold or cut a bunch of stuff from what reports are. I'm only going by reports that from other people and from reading articles that they're not doing very good.
Well, you know what?
So the parks aren't doing good, the movies and shows aren't doing good, and they're going to have to do a big correction if they want to do it. So hopefully that big correction comes with an Ahsoka. The next Mandalorian season is good.
Yeah.
So Ahsoka season 2 is good. Then they're going to make the movie that wraps it all together with them battling Thrawn. It sounds like the Mando movie or Mando TV series. I was just reading that it's going to be trying to find where Thrawn went. And
I hope
infiltrating that and that type of stuff.
I hope that Ahsoka goes to Mando on his little ranch and says, "Hey, we need your help. Thrawn is back."
Well, they already remember he already talked to them about working with the New Republic in a way. So he's that's the rumor. That's kind of like the rumor of what people think. The rumor is the new Mando series. Season is going to be him going because it links it all together. Now you got Thrawn in our universe and back in this galaxy.
Yeah.
And so it'll be, they got to start, he starts building his power and starts exerting power, then they got to figure out how to find him, infiltrate, how to find his weaknesses.
Start cloning. I mean, the pathway for them to be profitable is so easy. Like just lean into the Force, lean into some of these characters. Don't try to
lean into legends. And Dave Filoni it will do that if he's allowed to. And I know Kathleen Kennedy's contract's up in 2024. And if she really is gone in 2024 and she doesn't have much power left because they've kind of neutered her, then great, Dave Filoni can really correct and right the ship. And Jon Favreau. And then his big job is to bring Star Wars people in and to oversee them.
Yes.
And what they're creating. So then you have somebody at the vision.
So the Force.
I'm excited. Don't get me wrong that Filoni's in this position. I just don't think he has full power. I think he has to answer the person who's writing the checks. That's the problem. All right, so that's our show. Check out my website, rosevillesc.com for Roseville Strength and Conditioning. And we have the Do or Do Not podcast Instagram page.
Have you been doing the Facebook? Have you been doing the Facebook?
I never set up a Facebook, I don't think.
I did. You said you were running it in the last episode. Check the tapes. See, people, what I'm working with.
I don't even know if I can log in.
You see what I'm working with
why
here?
are we even doing an episode today?
All right. First of all, you won't work on the weekends. Okay. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy won't come and see me.
I'm in here all day, 5 days a week.
He'll bring his family and work him out on a weekend.
Yeah.
Not his spiritual Star Wars brother.
No, not doing a podcast on the weekends.
Hurtful.
Unless something like Kathleen Kennedy got fired.
And then we're going to do like a 3-day
We're going to come in and drink beers and shots of whiskey.
Yes. All that stuff about moderation out the window.
Kathleen Kennedy is out at Disney because she's a piece of crash.
All right. Now, don't forget, we got to do a Christmas episode in your yard.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
You already said it. You can't let our 3 followers down.
Yeah, that's a lot of work for 3 followers. It's easy to set this up in 10 minutes.
Oh, week, do or do not.
Yeah, we'll see if we can figure it out.
All right, get us out of here. You got to go.
All right,
he's got to hurt somebody.
We'll hopefully get a new episode up very soon. We'll get this episode up, and then we'll hopefully get another one done next week, and we'll get more consistent because Brad's very limited on when he can do them, and I don't do them on the weekends. So
we're trying every weekend.
Yeah, we'll try to find time to do them. And that will be it for today.
Done.